Hello, and welcome to another lesson from Level Up Mathematics. In today's lesson, we will be comparing and ordering integers. Before we do that, let's look at a couple of definitions. First of all, the word integers is simply the set of all the whole numbers and their opposites. So, for example, -3 is an integer because it's the opposite of +3. -2 is an integer because it's the opposite of +2. -1 is an integer because it's the opposite of +1. 0 is the only integer that does not have an opposite. And then we have our whole numbers, 1, 2, 3, and we could continue to infinity. So these are integers. Now, integers will never include decimals or fractions, all right? They're just the set of whole numbers and their opposites. Integers can be plotted on a number line where the positive values are located to the right of 0, and the negative values are located to the left of 0. Let's look at example 1. An unmarked number line is shown below with 3 points labeled. Fill in each circle with a greater than sign or a less than sign to make the statement true and explain why you made your choice. So on the number line here, we have point C, point A, and point B. So in problem A, they want us to put either a greater than or a less than symbol in the circle to make the statement true. So we're comparing point A to point C. So point A is right here, and point C is right here. So because point A is to the right of point C, then we would say that point A is greater than C. Now for the Y, we would say it's greater than point C because point A lies to the right of point C. Okay, erase that. All right, our next problem is comparing point C to point B. So here is point C, and here is point B. So we're going to ask ourselves, is C less than B or is C greater than B? Well, because C lies to the left of B, then we know it is less than. Left is less than. And for the reason, because point C lies to the left of point B. So anything that lies to the right is greater, and anything that lies to the left is less than. All right. Example 2, Plot the numbers below on the number line and then fill in the circles with either a greater than or a less than symbol. So the first thing we're going to do is they've given us 5 integers to plot. Now, I first want you to notice that your number line, in the middle of your number line, we have a 0. And then it's going by ones, although it did not write all these out. It is going by ones. And so on the other side, we would have -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and so on, okay? So if I wanted to plot -7, I would go to -5 and then go 1 to the left would be -6 and another one to the left would be -7. So I'm going to put a dot right here. I'm going to label it with an A and I'll put a -7 right there. All right, then point B is at 4. So that's right here. I'll put a B there. Our next point they want us to plot is -2. So that would go right here. I'll put a C there. And 0 would go right here. That was point D. And point E is +8. So I'm going to go to the 5 and then count over 6, 7, 8. So here's E, and I'll put an 8 right there. All right. Now I'm going to put a less than or greater than symbol in each circle to make the statement true. So in problem A, we're comparing -2 to 8. We're comparing -2 to 8. So here's -2 and here's +8. Because -2 lies to the left of 8, then we would say it is less than. -2 is less than 8. So -2 lies to the left of 8. Okay. In problem B, we're comparing -2 to -7. So I'm comparing -2 to -7. So this time, -2 lies to the right of -7. So if it lies to the right, it's greater than. So -2 lies to the right of -7. Therefore, it is greater than -7. All right. In problem C, we're comparing -7, let me highlight that, to 0. All right, so does -7 lie to the left of 0 or to the right of 0? Well, hopefully you said to the left. So left is less than. So -7 lies to the left of 0. Therefore, -7 is less than 0. -7 is less than 0. All right, in problem D, we're going to compare 0 to -2. So pause the video and try this problem on your own. All right, welcome back. Let's see how you did. I'm comparing 0 to -2. So we need to ask yourself, does 0 lie to the left of -2 or to the right? Well, hopefully you said it lies to the right, so it is greater than -2. So 0 lies to the right of -2. Therefore, 0 is greater than -2. All right, example 3. Plot the numbers below on the number line and then fill in the circles with either a greater than or less than symbol. So in this number line, let's see how it's scaled here. Let's see, it's going by 5s. So we have 0 way over here on the right. So again, this would be -1, -2, -3, -4, and so on. It would keep going. All right, so that's how this number line is scaled. So if I wanted to plot -19, here's -15, -16, 17, 18, 19. So this would be point A, and I'm going to put a -19 right below it. All right, now we're plotting -20. That would be point B, so that's right here. Point C is at -12, so I'm going to find the -10. -11, -12. So this would be point C, -12. Point D is at -10. And point E is at +2. So go to 0 and then 1, 2. So here's E and +2. All right, in problem A, they want us to compare -12. So let me highlight that. To -10. Let me highlight that. So ask yourself, is -12 to the left of -10 or to the right of -10? Well, because it's to the left of -10, I know it's less than. So we would say -12 is less than -10 because -12 lies to the left of -10. All right. In problem B, we're comparing -19. Let me highlight that. To -20. So ask yourself, does -19 lie to the left of -20 or to the right? Well, because it lies to the right, It is greater than. So negative 19 is greater than negative 20 because it lies to the right of negative 20. All right, in our next problem, we want to compare negative 10 to negative 19. So let me highlight negative 10 first, and then highlight negative 19. So ask yourself, is negative 10, is it to the left of negative 19 or to the right of negative 19? Because it's to the right, it is greater than. So negative 10 is greater than negative 19 because it lies to the right of negative 19 on the number line. All right, problem D. Pause the video and try this problem on your own. All right, welcome back. In problem D, we were comparing negative 20 to positive 2. Because negative 20 lies to the left of 2, we would say negative 20 is less than 2. All right, let's look at example 4. 3 students were asked to compare integers. Determine which student completed the task correctly. Now, we can use the number line above to complete this task, or to help us complete it a little bit easier. Student 1 says negative 8 is greater than negative 7. So I'm going to plot negative 8 and negative 7 in red to keep them separate from our last example. So negative 8, 5, 6, 7, 8 would be right here. And negative 7 would be right here. So negative 8 lies to the left of negative 7. So it should be less than. Negative 8 is less than negative 7. So this statement was false. We're trying to determine which student completed the task correctly. All right, student 2 said that 0 was less than negative 1. So here's 0. Let me highlight 0. And here is negative 1. Now, 0 lies to the right of negative 1. So they should have written 0 is greater than negative 1. So this student did not complete the task correctly. All right. Student 3 said that negative 15 is less than negative 14. So let's highlight that in red on this number line here. Here's negative 15, and here is negative 14. Let me highlight that. Here's negative 14. All right, negative 15 lies to the left of negative 14, so it's less than. So student 3 completed this task correctly. All right. The table below represents the number of yards gained in 6 different football plays. List the values in order from greatest to least. So in play 1, they lost 7 yards. In play 2, they gained 3 yards. In play 3, they gained 6 yards. In play 4, they gained 9 yards. In play 5, they lost 5 yards. And in play 6, they lost 9 yards. And they want us to order our numbers from greatest, so I'll put a G, to least, so I'll put an L for least. So they want the largest number to go first and the smallest number to go last. Now, when you have a mixture of positive and negatives, the positives are always going to be bigger than the negatives. So I want to look at our positive numbers here real quickly. Let me highlight them. 3, 6, and 9. Those are our positive numbers. So let's put those in order first, starting with the biggest one. So our largest gain was 9. Our next largest gain was 6. Our next largest gain was 3. All right, now we're going to look at the negatives. We have negative 7, negative 5, and negative 9. Remember, we want the smallest one to go last. So I know the smallest one would be negative 9. That has to go last. And then we would have negative 7 and negative 5. So now our integers are in order: 9, 6, 3, negative 5, negative 7, or negative 9. All right, Example 6, a student placed 4 different points on a number line. What value best represents point Q? All right, so if I'm looking at point Q, I notice there's no number underneath it. So I need to see how this number line is scaled. So I have 0, and then it skips a blank, and then it goes to 4, and then it skips a blank and goes to 8. So that tells me this number line is scaled by 2's. So 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. This would have to be 10. And then I'd go the opposite way, 0, negative 2, negative 4, negative 6, negative 8, negative 10. So negative 10 is our smallest integer on the number line, and positive 10 is our largest integer. So point Q would have to be positive 6. All right, what value best represents point N? So point N is in between negative 4 and negative 6. So that would have to be negative 5. What value best represents point P? So I have 0. It's halfway between 0 and 2. So that would have to be positive 1. And that concludes today's lesson, comparing and ordering integers.